In 2020, I was broke, living with my parents, watching videos all day about how to actually make money online. I just dropped a failed shoe reselling business, my agency wasn't making enough money to survive, and there I was writing every single day in my journal, I deserve 10K a month, I deserve 10K a month, I deserve 10K a month. Fast forward a bit and I made over $100,000 profit my first year selling discounted name brand products on Amazon. And since then, I've helped hundreds of people do the same thing. We'll pop a whole bunch of them up on screen here. And no, this video is not to brag, it's to show you that out of everyone, if I can do it, everyone can do it, and you can too. So if you stay to the end, I'll break down exactly how I can do this in half the time it took me. Let's dig into it. So where did I actually find my addiction, obsession, and love for trading stuff and doing online business? It actually comes back to Christmas of 2010. I got this Lego set for Christmas and I just could not figure out how to put it together, even though there were instructions and everything. So I went on this thing called YouTube and I looked up the name of that Lego set, and instantly I figured out that there was a big online community of people talking about Legos, and immediately I was hooked from day one. It's where I found my love for content creation too. And the next couple years I spent immersed in the online Lego community, running Skype calls with people, going to different conventions, and documenting my progress and different builds I was making, and not just doing these big, huge Lego creations in the art in the way that I see it, but also trading, buying, and selling exclusive pieces with people all day. My favorite part of the big Lego convention I would go to every year in Washington, D.C. was the yard sale section where we would buy, sell, and trade with different people all the time, and I was hooked. I was shipping out stuff, doing different deals in the DMs and on Skype all the time, and that didn't just teach me basic business skills, but it also told me about content creation and putting things together the right way and connecting with people online, which taught me a lot of lessons that really helped me over the long term. And then the next couple years, we would just go to the conventions every year, and I was working on grinding to get 100 likes on a picture on the website Flickr, which I don't even know if it exists these days. And at the convention one year, one of my friends had these crazy nice shoes on, the Bread Jordan 1s, which I think at the time were like 400 bucks. I was like, dude, how are you able to afford those? And I was playing high school basketball at the time, so I knew there were these nice shoes out there and that people somehow were able to afford them, but I didn't really get how. And he told me that he was flipping shoes to make money. I was like, I really like doing that with Legos. This guy's no smarter than me. Let me get going with that too. And so starting in 2014, which was my freshman year of high school, I spent the next couple years getting a lot more involved with the shoe community online and going on Facebook groups and buy, sell, and trading with people left and right. Got scammed a couple times, literally like pretty much my first 500 bucks I lost, which absolutely sucked. But that same guy who scammed me, which was also the guy from the Lego community that introduced me to it in the first place, he put me on to all the big Facebook groups and really got me going. And the stuff I was doing with Legos still ended up making me enough money just off trading my way up and getting different things off of being in different groups and everything that I could keep going and sustain while working for minimum wage as a high school tour guide. And so that was primarily just buy, selling, and trading just on Facebook groups and on like Instagram and stuff like that. And eventually these new marketplaces called StockX and Goat came out. And the huge thing with that was that we didn't have to negotiate with people. You could just list something and it would sell. And it was also completely scam proof because you would send it to their authentication centers and then you would get paid out really quick. It was a good system, and it eventually led me to I guess like scaling a little bit more. And I remember my goal once I started that was to get like one sale every single day while I was just doing my tour guiding job on the side and eventually try to beat it. And then this is the summer before I went to college in 2017. My mom was like, all right, Miles, aren't you gonna get rid of all those shoes? And I'm like, no, Mom, I'm gonna bring them to the dorm with me. So I ended up having a pretty cool roommate, big shout out to Taj, and I would just have all these shoes in the room with me, like under my bed and to the side of the dresser and everything. And I got started like selling shoes to people on campus, and college was in a little bit bigger of a city, so I was able to do some local meetups along with the stuff just on the marketplace too. And in the same way that when I was in high school, I loved growing my high school basketball team's Twitter account, and I loved growing my online Lego page on Flickr. Actually, now I think about it, it is still up. It's called The White Beret. You can go look at it. It's pretty cool stuff. There were all these kids that had pages online about selling shoes, but I never had one. Ironically, that being a big part of my early life, I didn't have it for my shoe reselling business. But that was also the same time getting into my sophomore year of college, I started to get a lot more serious about it. Had like my first $1,000 profit month, just going to like the Nike outlet on the weekends and flipping stuff on StockX and Goat. And looking back, conveniently but inconveniently at the time, my two best friends transferred out of our college, and sophomore year I could have a car on campus. So I had way more free time and I had the mobility of having a car so I could drive to the outlets a lot more. And I started to get significantly more into self-improvement and making money online. And this was really when like making money online started to get a lot more mainstream. I was getting hit by ads about selling on Amazon and selling on eBay. And I just really immersed myself in the online reselling community. And it was my first time really getting exposed to the idea that people could do this full time and they weren't just kids like me. Like these were actual adults doing this stuff, especially selling on Amazon. The problem was I didn't know that you could sell name brand products from the get-go. So keeping going with that kind of theme of isolation, I ended up living in my college town working as an unpaid internship during the summer of 2019. I've been following people online that were talking about Amazon for a while, never really gave it a go myself, but I was now documenting my journey under the Flips for Miles page. Gary Vee's content finally made me go ahead and get going with this stuff. By far the best decision I've ever made was to actually start this brand. And I'm like, all right, I got all this free time. I see people winning with this stuff online. I'm working as an unpaid intern. I don't really got much going on. Let me get my Amazon seller account started. Let me go find some Nikes to sell. And the big problem was, what I didn't realize was I had no idea how to actually get approved to sell these big brands and categories on Amazon, which is these days known as gating and ungating. Basically, Amazon wants to avoid fake products being sold on their platform. So they make new sellers prove that the items you actually are selling from big brands and categories these days like toys, Gap, vitamins, beauty, stuff like that they're actually legit by providing invoices and order confirmation emails to do that. The problem was I didn't know that was the thing. I thought you had to sell a bunch of used stuff first and then get to the point where you just get automatically approved for stuff, which is kind of true, but I didn't know how to get in the big ones approved with no prior sales history like I know how to do now. So my goal was to sell a bunch of used books, which was pretty much what only new sellers were selling at the time, and then eventually get to the point where Amazon would start to automatically approve me for the big brands and categories, which now we know is not the case. If you stick around to the end of this video, I'll show you how you can go ahead and get that done from day one, even as a new seller. And I just really got to it. I immediately started executing. I was going to library sales and thrift stores and annoying all the people I was going to college with to get their textbooks to sell them on Amazon, because we know the college bookstore, they pay very, very little for products. So at the end of the semester, I would go in and really just annoy all my classmates and stuff to get the books from them to go ahead and sell for a profit on Amazon. And I pretty much let the shoe reselling stuff go to the wayside, even though I had really started to get going with it, like make like a couple grand a month in profit, 5 grand profit 1 month, really started to open my eyes for stuff. But I saw selling on Amazon as the big North Star. So I started to take selling used books on Amazon significantly more seriously. And so I keep going with that. I ended up doing like 30 grand in revenue, which is probably about $10,000 profit for that year, just on the reselling used book side of things, which is not bad part-time for a college student, but it was a far cry from what I saw people making online. They were selling name brand products on Amazon and just overall getting exposed to more broader online business models that people were talking about as social media algorithms got better. And then we all know what happens at the start of 2020. Thrift stores close, no more library sales, no more way to actually get any more inventory, and I'm stuck at home living at my parents' house again, back where I started with no Amazon business. But I still am pretty active on Instagram, sharing what I'm learning, sharing what I'm doing. I get back into sneaker reselling heavy and start to build a little bit more of a name in the sneaker reselling community and build some relationships with some of the big people in the space. End up being actually a moderator in some groups, just sharing tips on how to get approved for different business credit and things like that. But still definitely not enough money to live off of, which is where I went down the, like a lot of people I think did, the make money online in any way you can during 2020. So I spent a bunch of time running Facebook ads for medical spas, even did a little bit of drop shipping as well, spent a ton of time doing sneaker reselling, and my Amazon business with the used book model pretty much died out because I just couldn't get any more product. So I'm sitting at home during COVID trying to make money online in any way I can. I've already committed to graduating early because I knew that I really wanted to make money online full time, but I had to prove to the world, had to prove to my parents, and had to prove to myself that I could consistently go ahead and do this. I'm probably making total like 3 to 5 grand a month profit across all my ventures at the time. Graduation comes in December 2020. I literally wasn't on campus or anything. There was no graduation ceremony. I finished my last final and pretty much just started the real world. But the big thing is that I was still active online in the Amazon community. Even if I wasn't necessarily doing it, I was talking to people that were, and I started to see people were crushing with pools and chlorine and toys and all these types of products that were going insane during 2020, and I was like, they made their account after I did. How the heck are they able to sell these big brands and categories? And then I learned from being active in the Amazon community and just networking with other Amazon sellers that ungating was now, or at least now the information was available on how to actually sell name brand products and get approved to sell name brand products as a complete beginner. And literally right away, I went ahead and got ungated. I literally tell people for free on my channel, no gatekeeping here, in a couple big shoe brands. And then I listed some of my old shoe inventory on Amazon, and it was like bang, cha-ching sale, bang, cha-ching sale, bang, cha-ching sale. And I'm like, all right, like I could probably do something with this. So I do pretty much the only thing I've really done consistently throughout all of my life after like age like 12 pretty much. I share what I'm doing online and I start talking about Amazon online arbitrage heavy. And a huge lesson you hear me talk about in my videos all the time is networking, getting to know other Amazon sellers and being active in the community. And pretty quickly I started to gain traction, and I was posting my journey talking about what I was doing with online arbitrage. I did like 6K in revenue and like $1,200 profit my first month, which was pretty lit at the time. But the big thing is I was having tons of fun doing it. I remember I was talking about what I was doing online, getting a little bit more traction, and I was watching this Gary Vee video and he was like, you better reply to every comment and do all that stuff. And I was like, all right, Gary, I'm not just gonna reply to every comment, which I realized I was replying to none of my comments at the time. I'm gonna introduce myself to everyone. And that was when I ended up meeting Garrett all at Amazon, who I now do the Buy Box Bandits podcast with. We have 180 episodes. And I was like, all right, I'm not just gonna reply to all these comments. I'm gonna DM and introduce myself to him. And we literally ended up getting a call. I'm pretty sure it was that night. And he put me on tons of game because he already knew me. He liked, and trusted me from my content. That's why I'm so big on sharing your journey online. And instantly, we just formed a friend group of other Amazon sellers we met online and just got to it. My second month, I'm scaling fast. I'm buying products, moving it quick. I do like 30K in sales and $6,000 profit. And I'm like, all right, I found my calling. I can totally do this full time. Screw the agency, screw drop shipping. I'm no longer worried about sneaker reselling. Amazon's the game here. And now it just kept getting to it. I learned a ton of awesome product research stuff. Easter came by, Mother's Day came by, Memorial Day came by. There's tons of deals going on literally right now too. Prime Day is coming up in terms of when you guys are watching this, and just really starting to get into rhythm, buying the right products, being able to effectively read the seller amp and keep the data, understanding how you can go ahead and sell products more expensive, and understand that you can sell products quicker when you sell them via merchant fulfilled on Amazon as opposed to Amazon FBA, and overall just riding the wave of the massive increasing e-commerce demand of 2020 and 2021. So at this point, I'm working with guys like Warner Field to Profit, Danny Wi-Fi Astronaut, Garrett all on Amazon, and we're just having a ton of fun working on this stuff. And I'm selling products pretty much exclusively merch filled on Amazon, just having fun with this newfound freedom that I found. And I ended up going on vacation and realizing that when you're on vacation and you're not fulfilling FBM orders every day and you don't have any inventory in stock at FBA, your sales plummet. So I come back from vacation in early June of 2021 with newfound motivation and bang, do my first 50K sales month, which is almost $10,000 in profit. And then during July, I end up getting a lot more serious and a lot more confident in myself, going heavier on specific products because it's literally the same amount of work to buy 10 of a product versus 100 of a product, but you make 10 times the profit. And that's what I learned that month when I had my first $10,000 profit month. And then I didn't learn my lesson about doing stuff only Amazon merchant filled because I went on vacation to Florida again and actually attended the first ever Miami Sellers Conference. And I saw all these guys that I followed on IG, like these big guys where they're selling 100K a month and 200K a month, and someone who's younger than me doing 300K a month. And I'm like, damn, if these guys can do it, I can too. And back to school season is getting started in July and August. So I come back with major motivation from going to the conference and knowing that this is my first back to school season as an online arbitrage seller doing the online arbitrage business model, and go crazy. I do 100K in sales in just 2 weeks, over $15,000 profit, life changed forever. That back to school demand's crazy on stuff like backpacks, clothing, crayons, calculators, literally anything associated like school supplies and kids going to school. And luckily, this time's coming up when you're watching this right now, and Prime Day is coming up too, which are 2 periods of massive increases in demand that you have to be ready to take advantage of. And throughout this whole process, there were so many times it would have made sense to quit, like realizing on vacation that I wasn't making any money, or when you buy a bad product and the price totally goes down, or you think you found a really good product and the website cancels a bunch of orders. There's so many reasons to stop when you're doing your first online business, but there's also so many reasons to keep going. And I'm so proud of myself that I went ahead and did that. And that's what I really take with me today and why I've decided to coach people with selling on Amazon as well. So if you're resonating with my journey, you think some of it's relatable, you potentially want one-on-one help going ahead and doing this stuff, I'll leave a link down below in the description for my one-on-one coaching program application. We'll pop a whole bunch of results up here on screen of people that are crushing it with our stuff. So if you're serious, hardworking, you really want to take action on this stuff, you want to be ready for Prime Day, you want to be ready for Q4, you want to take advantage of back to school, go down to the link in the description and put in your information to apply for my coaching program. Like my boy Aaron, aka 0 Day Handle Time on Twitter, he went from zero to making over $10,000 profit a month in less than 4 months. And my boy Nick Spizak, a father of 2, who was recently able to quit his 9-to-5 job after just a few years of selling on Amazon and ended up making 6 figures profit his first year as a part-time seller. So now back to school season's over, I've really scaled up, and the big problem is my back to school products, they cool off in demand and they're not as good as they were, and I'm not getting as much buy box share, aka sales, as I was back then. So this was a really important moment where I realized the absolute power of selling products Amazon FBA. With FBM, aka merchant field, you ship products directly to the customer, which really doesn't make sense to do at scale. You pretty much just do when you're a beginner, a little bit here and there, or during big seasonal opportunities like Prime Day, back to school, and Q4. But selling products Amazon FBA, shipping products off in bulk to the Amazon FBA warehouse where they handle the rest, picking and packing, customer service, fulfilling the individual orders. This stuff's super powerful. So I started doing that in September and October. I ended up doing about the same revenue and profit with like 1/5 the work because I wasn't actually fulfilling all the orders myself. And this was a big moment starting to do FBA heavily. The problem was Amazon had back in the day what's called restock limits, where they limit the amount you can send to Amazon FBA at one time. And because I was only doing merchant fulfilled, even though I was making a bunch of sales and profit, I didn't have much spots available. So I basically had to decrease my business a little bit, still doing about the same, but I should have been doing more with how much more skill, motivation, and capital I had at this point. So I had to really play by their rules. And that was a big learning lesson. I should have started doing FBA a lot sooner there. But then November comes around, demand spikes, early Black Friday deals are popping off, products are cheaper, demand's higher, stuff selling faster, stuff selling for more expensive too. I'm pumping in stuff to Amazon FBA, and FBM starts to pop off as well, and I start getting 100 plus FBM orders a day. I end up doing over 200K in revenue for November of 2021, which was over $30,000 in profit, and then December, the big daddy of them all, I did over 300K in revenue and over $50,000 in profit, and had multiple $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 profit days. Absolutely just destroyed my parents' living room. Love them for that. Just fulfilling orders, just had that thing super filled. I had these huge bags of packages I was giving to UPS every day, and it was just an absolute mad dash to fulfill as many orders as possible. I went from, as a beginner, not having enough good product to buy, to, as an experienced seller, not having enough money to go ahead and buy the products that I knew were gonna sell so insanely quick when I did get them. And so that's my story of going 0 to 7 figures on Amazon FBA in less than a year. And the big lessons are definitely hit Q4 and back to school as hard as possible. Find other new sellers to work with online just by publicly documenting your journey on Instagram and Twitter to find other cool sellers, as well as always take a look at the data on SellerAmp and Keepa to make sure the products you're actually buying are legit, and do a hybrid approach of both merchant fulfilled, Amazon FBM, as well as fulfillment by Amazon, Amazon FBA, to have 2 horses running for you and providing as much profit as possible. And what you really have to understand is that nothing good happens overnight. Good things take time. This is a 6 to 12 month minimum commitment if you want to give yourself any type of momentum or chance at succeeding long term. Anyone telling you selling on Amazon FBA is easy is absolutely selling you a get rich quick scheme and a dream. It's not true whatsoever. It's a lot of hard work to get results with anything in this world. But you can equip yourself as best as possible by sticking around for a while, learning to read the data, and finding cool sellers to work with. If any of my story hit home for you, feeling stuck, not knowing what direction you want to take in life, getting ungated for products on Amazon, or knowing what items are actually profitable, go ahead and sell, I have something for you. My private coaching program. If I could go back when I got started and work with someone who knew what they were doing from day one, it would have made a huge difference in my journey. And that's exactly why I started coaching. So if you're serious about building a real Amazon biz and want personal one-on-one hand-holding directly from me, I'm the only Amazon coach that actually does one-on-ones with every student. Take a look down below at the link in the description and go ahead and put in your information to see if you qualify for my private coaching program. So thanks so much for watching, guys. If you have any questions, let me know down below in the comments. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one.